No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for July 17th, 2023. We are on the road to WWE SummerSlam in Detroit, Michigan at Ford Field. I'll be there for the show. Very much looking forward to it. Let's get into this recap. Things are heating up. We opened up Monday Night Raw with the American Nightmare, Atlanta's own Cody Rhodes. Crowd was very much into Cody in his hometown. They chanted, "Welcome home." He said they really don't need to talk. He said there's a large shadow that looms over him, and that shadow, of course, is Brock Lesnar. He called out Lesnar. Lesnar, however, did not appear. Cody said he'll wait. He'll wait until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or maybe even the very end of the show. He said it will be hard times for Brock Lesnar when he does show up. Cody introduced his mom, who was in the front row. Then he went out to the ringside area to talk with his family. And then Brock Lesnar's music hit. However, Brock did not show up. Cody started to walk towards the back. The music played again. Cody Rhodes was waiting, but again, no Brock Lesnar. So Cody Rhodes stormed to the backstage area, and just as he got backstage, he was ambushed by Brock Lesnar. Lesnar had a steel chair. He brutally attacked Cody at ringside, and then right in front of Cody's mom, Brock Lesnar gave him the F5. Then applied the Kimura lock, accepted the challenge, and also called Cody Rhodes a bitch in the process. And yeah, Matthew, I agree with you. When Cody's mom was shown at ringside, that's a giveaway. Like, Brock's going to beat up Cody in front of her. But I thought the execution of this was great. The crowd was awesome for this. Loved the reaction to everything that happened here. Brock Lesnar getting some heat. And I'm stoked for this match. Still no stipulation, though. I figured that they would announce a stipulation, but nothing as of yet. You really think that these guys would have a stipulation since it's the rubber match and you have to step things up a little bit. Anyways, strong segment to open the show. Red hot crowd. And then we had our first match of the evening, which was Matt Riddle versus Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, in a non-title match with Imperium barred from ringside. They were watching backstage. Riddle took the fight to Gunther, but Gunther was brutal. Riddle jumped off the steel steps on the outside, got caught with a chop, and slammed on the floor. Riddle was chopped more in the ring, but Riddle started fighting back, delivering some kicks. Went for the floating bro, but Gunther got his knees up, and then Gunther beat Riddle clean right in the middle with the power bomb to pick up another victory. Riddle did not win this so-called eliminator match. And afterwards, Gunther got on the mic and called himself the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He said that Riddle is done, and Drew McIntyre, will be the next to fall in line to the ring general, Gunther. For what it was, this was a really good TV match. These guys could have gone longer. The time they were out there, it was a very hard-hitting match. And I feel like Gunther very well could be the greatest IC champion of all time. He's got to be up there. Like, who's been more dominant for over a year? He's close to breaking Honky Tonk Man's record. And let's face it, Honky Tonk Man wasn't exactly the most dominant IC champion. When he won by count out or some screwy finish. He never really cleanly beat anybody as champion. He was a cowardly champion who managed to squeak by victories, and he had Jimmy Hart out there. Gunther, over a year, has just been destroying everybody. And I really feel Gunther has to break the record, but he very likely has Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. McIntyre was not on the show. He had a prior commitment, but he will be back next week, and there will be a face-to-face between these guys. Dave is a beastly. Do you really want the Honky Tonk Man to die? Because if you bring him out there, the guy is not a young man. He will turn into dust if Gunther chops him. I would fear for Honky's life if that happened. Backstage, we had Liv Morgan and Raquel, the women's tag team champions, being interviewed. They said they will not back down from anyone. Rhea Ripley confronted them. Rhea headbutted Liv, and we had a fight between Raquel and Ripley. Raquel's knee got hurt in the process. During this brawl, Rhea Ripley got in a cheap shot. More on that in just a few moments. We had Judgment Day come into the ring for a promo. Rhea talked about how they're stronger than ever. She's the most dominant woman in the industry. Said that Finn Balor and Damian Priest will become world champions. Dirty Dom will go on to NXT to beat Wes Lee and become the North American champion. Dominic tried to talk, got booed out of the building as usual. Balor said he's getting the first crack at Seth Rollins, and he said that their issues are not over until he wins the world title. Dominic tried to talk again, booed heavily, and he started talking in Spanish, and that's when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the tag team champions, showed up, and they surveyed the fans. Hey, yo, we're going to take a little survey. Zayn wanted to know if the people paid to hear Dominic talk or to see somebody shut his mouth. And you can imagine how the fans reacted. Sami Zayn hyped up the tag team title match. Priest wanted the tag team titles on the line. It was supposed to be a non-title match, but Priest pretty much demanded that the titles be on the line. So Kevin Owens accepted, and we were all set for our main event, tag team titles on the line in the main event. Good segment here. Judgment Day, they are stars, that's for sure. Everybody, I mean, WWE red hot. Atlanta, sold out crowd. WWE is on a roll right now. Like, several of their shows have been drawing over 10,000 fans. Like, this hasn't really happened, I think, since the Attitude Era, where they've drawn so well for television. Backstage, the trainer was checking on Raquel. I guess she was okay to wrestle as far as the trainer was concerned, but Adam Pearce was not really wanting to let this match continue as originally planned. But Raquel insisted that they go out there and defend the women's tag team titles. We had our tag team titles match. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green going up against Raquel and Liv. You had Sonya Deville determined, big boot to Liv right out of the gate, but then Raquel tagged in, started cleaning house. However, her knee was hurting. She was selling her knee. She missed a charge in the corner, went into the ring post. Sonya applied a submission to target the knee, but Liv was able to break it up. Liv tagged back in, hit the Oblivion to Chelsea, but Sonya broke it up. And then on the outside of the ring, Sonya targeted the leg of Raquel on the outside, and back in the ring, you had Chelsea hit the Unpretty Her, but Liv kicked out. And I thought this was going to be the title change because Sonya hit a cheap shot just before the Unpretty Her, and there was still the kick out. Liv kept fighting. It was 2-on-1, and it took a second Unpretty Her, followed by Sonya Deville with a running knee to the face to get Liv Morgan down for the 1-2-3. New tag team champions. This is interesting to me because I'm not a big fan of all the title changes. They're hot potatoing the titles. Yet another women's tag team title change. But at the same time, they've been hyping up Raquel versus Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley desperately needs some serious challengers, and she can also feud with Liv as well. And I also think that Sonya Deville and Chelsea are a fun tag team. I like their gimmick as the Karens, and I think they're doing good stuff here. I do think this was a good idea, even though I'm not a fan of all the hot potatoing of the titles. I do think that it was a good move. The Karens get a push here, and you can focus on Raquel and Liv going after Rhea Ripley for the women's championship. Because when you think about it, like, other than Liv and Raquel, who else does Rhea Ripley have to feud with? Nobody. That's why she's been basically just out there as a manager, despite being the women's world champion. I think it needed to be done. I'm really hopeful the Karens can actually hold the titles. But I say that every time there's new champions, I'm always like, okay, hopefully now the champs can have a long title run. We'll see what happens. And this likely means that Liv and Raquel are probably going to be in singles competition. That's another team that's breaking up. Like, we really need some more tag teams in the mix. We had Sonya Deville backstage basically saying that Raquel had a fake injury, and they said they are going to run the tag team division. Well, right now, without that many teams, they just might. We had some footage shown from SmackDown, just recapping everyone as to what's been going down with the Usos, heading into SummerSlam with Roman Reigns. We had Seth freaking Rollins, interviewed backstage by Byron Saxton. He said he has big plans for the world title. It should be defended in a marquee match at SummerSlam. He said there's several people that are serious contenders. And that's when Finn Balor showed up. Balor wanted his rematch. The line starts with him. He vowed to take Rollins' career and alter it forever. Forever. Rollins responded by saying that the title is bigger than both of them. Rollins said if Balor wanted to fight, they should fight right there in the locker room, take the first punch. But Balor seemingly declined. He got up to leave, and just as he was doing that, Balor came back into frame, attacked Seth Rollins, and told Rollins to make the match. TJS, there's something called the No DQ private chat or private Facebook message. Just saying. PsychoJet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, who from NXT can feud with Rhea Ripley for the title? Great question there. As far as potential contenders, I feel like there's really nobody right now on the horizon. Maybe Roxanne Perez when it's time to call her up. She would very much be an underdog, though, going against Rhea Ripley. I'm not sure who on NXT has that really strong physical presence that can match Rhea Ripley. Not that many can. Raquel is the only person on the roster that's taller than Rhea Ripley. That's why she works so well, because she's one person that can stand next to Rhea Ripley and actually look more physically intimidating. Ryan Dempsey sent in a $1 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Ryan. He did not leave any comment, but I do appreciate the super chat. We had our next segment, which was the Viking rules match. Basically, we had a Vikings boat attached to the ring. We also had some shields, not the Shield faction, but rather a bunch of shields. This was such a fun match. Viking Raiders up against Alpha Academy. Falls count anywhere. They were utilizing the boat prop, slamming each other on it. And you had Otis tossing Gable over the top rope onto the boat. And Eric slammed Ivar off the boat onto Gable, who was down below. They used the shields. Otis channeled Bubba Ray Dudley, telling Gable to get the tables. And Ivar in the ring tried a springboard move, got caught by Otis. Otis power slammed him. And then later, Ivar hit a moonsault to Otis, but then Gable came off the top with a moonsault of his own. Then he German suplexed Ivar, which the crowd popped huge for. Like I said, the crowd on this show was great. Atlanta really brought the energy, and Chad Gable really shined in this match. It was just so much fun. I know some wrestling purists out there will be like, this is goofy, but this is what I like in wrestling. I like when it's fun and when you do something different. Like this match, I think they did one before this. This was the second Viking rules match, and it ruled. It was fun. It was entertaining, and that's what it's all about. I love the props. I'm a sucker for the themed matches. I always like those Miracle on 34th Street fights and the Halloween themed matches. I like when they use the various props. It's something different. It's a nice change of pace from the norm. Anyways, back to the match. We had that table set up from earlier. Sarah Logan tried to interfere, but then Maxine Dupree attacked her. Chad Gable gave Maxine the jacket. She put it on, but then Sarah Valhalla, whatever you're calling her, she speared Maxine through the table. Chad Gable was thrown into the shields. I forgot to mention Titus O'Neil was on commentary. Yeah, I liked it. Why not? It was entertaining. He was entertaining. Otis was by himself. Gable was taken out of the equation, but he fought. Otis was beating the crap out of these guys. Caterpillar. But then Valhalla took a cheap shot at Otis. And then you had Eric and Ivar with a double power bomb to Otis to pick up the 1-2-3 victory. Even though some might say this is a Vince McMahon match, it really felt like a Triple H match because everybody got to shine in this. Chad Gable looked great with everything he did. Otis got to do a lot of his moves. The match got a pretty good amount of time, and the Viking Raiders ultimately won the match. It was their own match, so I do think it was the right booking decision to have the Viking Raiders win their match. And yeah, it got everybody over. Even Maxine and Valhalla got over in this match doing their stuff. Excellent match. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I was very entertained by it. We had Shayna Baszler versus poor Nikki Cross, who tried to fight Shayna but was quickly overwhelmed. Shayna won the match in like 15 seconds with the Kira Fuda clutch. Poor Nikki, but I mean, that's just the way it is. Could have been Dana Brooke, but they put Nikki in there. I think Dana Brooke's doing NXT now. That might be Nikki's next stop. But you know what? Nikki got her degree. She's doing stuff outside of wrestling. So congratulations to her. And she's still getting TV time. Shayna Baszler wanted a piece of Ronda Rousey. Ronda was up in a luxury box. And Ronda got on the mic. So we had Ronda Rousey cutting a promo. Yikes. Part of the problem here, it wasn't so much what she said, but she was just talking so fast. When Ronda was cutting this promo, she was talking way too fast. Basically said she was not given an opportunity. She took an opportunity. She's the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. And Shayna Baszler is just a knockoff of her. Ronda Rousey responded by saying that in the WWE ring, she's a better Ronda Rousey than Ronda Rousey. Rousey refused to fight, so Shayna decided to go up after Ronda, but security stopped her, and Ronda said she'll finally get Shayna Baszler booked at a SummerSlam. That was quite the line right there. I was like, oh, it's on. And yeah, it's official. I mean, it was definitely not the worst Ronda Rousey promo. I just think like she was talking so fast that it kind of came off like she was a bit nervous with her mic work. But she got the points across, and they got it set up. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam. And yeah, should be a good match with them, maybe a great match. I would expect Shayna to be elevated from this, and we'll see what happens. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, are WWE stars in 2023 better wrestlers than 2013? I would say yes, slightly. 2013, you still had a really great roster, but I think it's even better now. 2013, you had a lot of the current crop getting started, like the Shield members. But yeah, you also had Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro. Now you got so many people, though, that have really excelled at a high level. I would say now WWE's roster is arguably the strongest it's ever been. We had Ricochet interviewed backstage, another great wrestler in this current era. And he said maybe on social media, Logan Paul is a big deal, but in WWE, he's a joke. And Ricochet called out Logan Paul for next week's Raw. Logan Paul did accept via social media, and he'll be on Monday Night Raw next week. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, Ronda's problem is she anticipates her opponent's retort. If you listen to a lot of her promos, she's ready to reply too quickly, and it's never smooth, just like me trying to read that. I agree with you on that. I think it's just Ronda Rousey not really having the instinct. Some people have it, some people don't. Ronda Rousey, it just doesn't come as naturally to her as other people. She's a great athlete, but when it comes to doing the pro wrestling style of promo, I think she struggles a little bit and really hasn't nailed it since coming to WWE. She is one of those people that really could have benefited from a Paul Heyman or somebody speaking for her, even like an MVP. Like having a mouthpiece, I think would have really benefited Ronda Rousey during her time in WWE. And for whatever reason, they never gave her one. We had Miz TV with Becky Lynch. And before that, Miz was bragging about how he beat Tommaso Ciampa. He took a shot at Pat McAfee, called him the most overpaid loser in sports. Becky came to the ring, and Miz asked if Becky has lost a step because she's lost various matches. Becky was outraged. She threw the chairs out of the ring. She intimidated the Miz. She said she's lost a lot of things, but she has not lost a step. She told Miz to get Trish Stratus out there. Miz was intimidated. He did bring out Trish and Zoe Stark. Trish got in the ring with Zoe and said she already beat Becky and won. Same thing with Zoe. As far as Trish is concerned, they're done with Becky. She just wants Becky to say thank you. That's all she wants at this point. Becky responded by saying she has accomplished more in WWE than Trish ever did. And if Trish wants to be the best, Trish needs to prove it with one more match. After antagonizing Trish, Trish finally agreed, but under a few conditions. First, Becky has to fight Zoe Stark one more time. And if Becky loses, Becky must get down on her knees and say, thank you, Trish. Becky was like, done. She agreed. But then Trish also wanted Becky to get a tattoo that says, thank you, Trish. Becky once again said, done. She agrees. We had a fight break out. It was 2-on-1. Becky managed to fight back. She ripped off Trish's mask, punched Trish in the face, and then put on Trish's mask and headbutted Zoe. And that seemingly sets up SummerSlam next week. I suspect Trish will be out there, but in the end, it will be Becky picking up the win and getting her match with Trish at SummerSlam. Yeah, I mean, I fully expect Becky Lynch to win next week. This was a pretty good segment. I definitely think they're picking up the pace with this storyline. For the longest time, I wasn't really feeling it, and now I will say that it's starting to click with me as we get into SummerSlam. We had Shinsuke Nakamura one-on-one with Big Bronson Reed. And that's his new name. The announcers were calling him that. Big Bronson Reed. Real quick, Psycho Jet Black here with the $2 super chat says, better promo, Ronda Rousey or Psycho Sid? I'd have to say Psycho Sid. Sid at least got me entertained with some of his wild comments and just him being a madman in general. Sid cutting that promo, I have half the brain that you do on Monday Nitro. Like, that was entertaining. But when Sid was on and wasn't botching his promos, like, he was intimidating. I brought this up on the Fight Forever live stream I did when Sid was cutting that promo about Hulk Hogan. What you did, Jack Tunney, is bogus. Like, that was great. Sid was on fire in that promo. Psycho Sid all the way. Big Bronson Reed versus Nakamura. Pretty basic match here, back and forth for a bit. And when Reed was perhaps on the verge of winning, Tommaso Ciampa showed up, attacked Reed, trying to get revenge for what happened last week when Reed cost Ciampa the match against The Miz. However, in doing so, by attacking Reed, it was a DQ, giving Reed the victory. And after the match was over, Shinsuke Nakamura was not happy. He ended up taking down Ciampa with a kick. And backstage, Nakamura was interviewed, and he is tired. He is tired of people getting involved in his business. I mean, can't say I blame him. I'm not sure if this is a heel turn or what, but I kind of sympathize with Nakamura. So maybe it's just a little bit of an attitude change for Nakamura, not necessarily a heel turn. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out with him. At least they got a storyline for Nakamura now, so there's something to watch and see what happens with his character. He's mad, and I really do not blame him. We had our main event of the evening, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dom. But before they could get going, Seth freaking Rollins jumped Finn Balor and brawled with him to the backstage area. The match is official for SummerSlam. We had Dominic getting beat up, the crowd chanting, "Dom, you suck." Kevin Owens told Damian Priest to suck it, and Dominic slipped to the outside of the ring. Rhea Ripley provided a distraction that gave Dominic a chance to get the upper hand. Damian Priest chokeslammed Sami Zayn on the ring apron. They worked over Zayn for a while, but then Owens got the hot tag, went for a swanton. Priest got his knees up, and then Dominic came off the top with a frog splash. Sami Zayn broke up the pin attempt. Owens hit the pop-up powerbomb to Dom, but Priest broke that up. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." I mean, Atlanta was awesome. They were hot for the whole show here. And Zayn avoided the 619 attempt, went over the top rope with a dive to Dom, but then Rhea Ripley threw Kevin Owens into the steel steps. Dominic rolled up Sami Zayn, but Zayn managed to kick out. Liv Morgan then showed up, went after Rhea Ripley, and the champs regained control. Stunner to Damian Priest, and then Haluva kick to Dirty Dom. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, still your tag team champions. I wonder if they're not on the SummerSlam card. My thought was, we already got like 8 or 9 matches for SummerSlam. How can you not have the tag titles on the pay-per-view? But I feel like they already have a full card at this point, and maybe that's why they did this match on Raw. Like, certainly it's not going to be Priest and Dominic versus Owens and Zayn at SummerSlam. Owens and Zayn just beat them, right? I mean, that would be pretty lame, but I mean, it would not shock me if they end up doing that anyways. But yeah, KO and Sami Zayn, still your tag champs. Really entertaining main event, and overall, great Raw. One of the best Raws of the year, in my opinion. I give this show an A-. I thought it was a really strong show. We got several big matches set up for SummerSlam. And yeah, I really enjoyed the build. The Atlanta crowd was great. So yeah, I was very happy with this show. It flew by, which is unusual for Raw. Like by the time we got to the third hour, I was surprised because it was going by so quickly for me. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, do you still trust Damian Priest with that briefcase? I'm not sure when he's going to cash it in, but I think they're doing a good job with him so far. I like the Senior Money in the Bank moniker. And Maybe he does cash it in. Maybe Balor wins the title and Priest does double cross Balor and cashes it in on him. I definitely am intrigued with it, and I think that maybe Priest might successfully cash it in. I would not be shocked if he does. Michael Wayne, I don't think LA Knight's getting on the SummerSlam card. I mean, I'd love to see it against Austin Theory, but this card is already looking like it's going to be 8 or 9 matches. And do we really want a 4-hour pay-per-view? We might end up getting one. I'm stoked for SummerSlam. I'm going to be there, and on paper, this is shaping up to be one of the better SummerSlams as far as I'm concerned. We'll see if the buildup continues to stay at a strong level heading into the pay-per-view, though. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Much love and appreciation to everybody out there. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like on YouTube. Subscribe at youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. NoDQ review Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I will see you all next time.